Hello Exiles, this is Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming and welcome to another Path of Exile video. In today's video I'm showing the campaign footage for my solo self-found version of my Molten Strike Warden. I have leveled it through the campaign, had a lot of fun with it, figured some things out. I will be putting out a complete guide which will include leveling trees, of which I think there are a variety of ways you can do this. What I did is I ran, for the most part early on, as a 3-link Frost Blades with added cold damage and Ancestral Call, and prior to getting added cold damage, I ran Momentum, which is surprisingly good just as a damage link in the early game, a lot of attack speed, and then I kind of tried a few different things. I think two-handed weapons are very strong in the early game because of the damage effectiveness of Frost Blades. Very helpful, so I used the essence that I got from the Dweller quest in order to put that on a longsword that you can get starting at level 8. You do need a little bit of strength, so you're going to need to get the Primal Spirit node early on, but once you've got that, you can go ahead and easily take down Brutus. You can, instead of using one-handed swords, daggers, or claws and getting whirling blades like I did, I happened to find a really good cutlass either at or shortly after Brutus. But if you don't happen to do that, you can use two-handed swords basically as long as you want. You won't be able to use Blade Trap if you do so, but it's very, very strong. And then just get Leap Slam with faster attacks and momentum instead of Whirling Blades with faster attacks and momentum. Other than that, I made a few different changes to the build, kind of in reaction to how everything was going. I thought it might be more interesting rather than having to wait until you're a good way into maps to get freeze immunity to just run Arctic Armor. And I really didn't need the damage. So my final setup for auras actually ended up being Arctic Armor, Flesh and Stone, Tempest Shield, Precision, and of course Herald of Ice, just to help with the clear, getting freezes. I was able to transition to crit much earlier than I normally would be able to. Turns out with all of the very, very efficient nodes down by the Ranger and Duelist now in terms of crit, for instance, Cornered Prey plus the Bleed Mastery, as long as you're not converting all of Molten Strike's damage into fire damage, you have at least some physical. Because of all of the balls you hit, you're going to get bleeds pretty quick. And the same thing with Dazzling Strikes with the Blind Mastery. Just those two sets of nodes are a tremendous amount of crit chance. And that's not even to mention lethality for projectile attacks. So just in this small little bit down by the corner by Duelist and Ranger, you get an enormous amount of crit from very close, very efficient nodes, each of them costing 3 points that you're traveling past anyway in many cases. So you're able to transition to crit. And, you know, especially factoring in grabbing Heartseeker so you can get the crit mastery itself, that'll increase the effect of non-damaging ailments, and grabbing, of course, Claws of the Hawk for your actual claw build. So you're able to get that very soon, and you can get fairly close to crit capped probably by time you're at the end of the campaign. If you manage to get a 5 or a 6 link, I was on a 4 link all through the campaign. Didn't really get much to speak of. I'll show my equipment at the start of my next video, but it's nothing really to write home about. But if you do happen to get a 5 link and you can run Nightblade and get your Elusive Claw Mastery and get your From the Shadows Dagger Mastery and the crit multi on that, you can crit cap with a tremendous amount of crit multi from very, very early on, and that is going to basically trivialize everything and very efficiently as well. So that is one of the good things about this build. The other good thing, of course, is the life gain on hit. You'll see in many of the cases during these boss fights, I am able to just stand there and face tank everything because I have greater multiple projectiles and return projectiles, which is granting me, my claws life gain on hit, and as well as any life gain on hit and instant leech I get from nodes such as the one leading up to Clever Thief, which gives me a little bit of extra life gain on hit, and you get the mana gain on hit from like Thrill of Battle and the little node leading up to Clever Thief for mana as well. So you're able to basically instantly regen all of your mana and health from every attack. You are hitting every single time you're swinging your weapon. You're hitting 19 times in total. So let's say you have, 40 or so life gain on hit, which is super possible. You are gaining just under 800 life every time you swing your weapon, not counting instant leech. Instant leech is going to add like 100 or 200 on top of that. So probably pretty close to 1,000 every time you swing. And if you're swinging, if you don't have a good attack speed weapon, you're still probably swinging at least 4 times per second. So you're getting like 4k health per second back just on life gain on hit. So that is very good. You could also do things like get excess sustenance early on, but I think that's extremely overkill because each ball procs separately and the 15% chance would proc fairly frequently. But yeah, once again, not at all necessary, just something funny you could do. If you were, say, playing hardcore and you really wanted to ensure you didn't die, then you just stack a bunch of life, and however long the fight takes, it's going to take. So good stuff there. Overall, the leveling experience was fun. It was good. The clear speed left a little bit to be desired with the one additional strike, and I didn't get my Herald of Ice explosions very consistent until pretty late in the campaign. Probably around Act 8, the clear speed started feeling okay. You could just level all the way through as Frostblades and it would be absolutely fine. But I do think this is going to be good for, getting your Watchstones, because the bossing potential of this build is where it really shines. So I think that's definitely the way you want to be going for, or with it rather. So I'm going to go ahead and just let the rest of this play out, and I hope you enjoy the footage. I will be back with my beginning mapping, which I will start shortly. I wanted to finish this video, which took me a little bit to edit everything together before I started actually doing the mapping portion of it, but I'll be starting that shortly, and I will bring you up through either 2 or 4 Watchstones depending on how long it takes. I'll bring you kind of a highlights and then actually go through everything in a little bit more detail in that video, and shortly thereafter I'll be releasing a full guide with a leveling guide. I might practice one more leveling setup, like maybe try bow leveling up until towards the middle or end of Act 4 where you get GMP and return projectiles, and then swap to Molten Strike. But one more thing, if you do either want to level like a trickster, or not a trickster, a shadow or something, up until breaking some eggs, you can get Flame Wall, which is very helpful to add damage. I just bought it either during the library quest or in Act 6, I don't remember, but it does add a considerable amount of damage, as all of your balls will go through the firewall and they will not only proc the degen, but they'll gain a bunch of added fire damage, which is very helpful. And another important thing is you want to be crafting lightning damage on your jewelry as soon as you beat Piety, and on your weapon if it doesn't have it as well. You are going to need that lightning damage to proc your shocks, and I actually used a variety of tinctures, which you might see throughout. Tinctures are very strong. I think you should run it on every build, not just a Warden. I think tinctures, if you're playing a melee build, should be mandatory. They're the most powerful thing. They're better than almost every flask. They are absolutely insane, and I'm actually going to look into building a character that in the future uses tinctures, either double tinctures or invests heavily into the tincture nodes, because I think they are actually legitimately that strong. Hope you enjoyed the rest of the footage. Ranted a little bit. This has been Ryan from Behind Eyes Gaming, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
creation. Usually the concern of nature, isn't it? Not anymore.
Now, exile!
What?
Now, exile!
Now, let us see if you truly understand what it means to be Nightmare. Accept the gift of immortality. Accept the gift of immortality. Nightmare. Why are you so in love with death?